Yeah, welcome back here at the recap conference. I hope I turned off my own Twitch sound so you don't get a second voice. Yeah, welcome back. I'm happy to announce the next two speakers of the next session. Feeling honored. And yeah, the title of the session is Simplify Development of Your Fiori apps with SAP Fiori Elements and SAP Fiori Tools. And like the title is mentioning, we have two members of two different teams. One is Mariana Naboka and Marcel Wächter. So from the Fiori Tools team and the Fiori Elements team. So Mariana is a product owner of SAP for focusing the Fiori tools and to accelerate the OData annotation development. And when reading the background, I was very happy to see she has a background in the graphical UI element that was making me smiling with the UI5 controls and the microcharts. And today now in her role for the Fiori tools. And Marcel has a long time background coming down from the stack, the whole stack in the previous years from mass data conversion and S4 architecture, and involved in the invention and implementation of the Fiori elements. So let's see if the sound and the picture is clear, and welcome you on the virtual stage. And it's yours. And I only jump in if anything looks to be failing from the sound perspective. So have fun, everyone.
Yes, okay. Thanks, Christian, for your very nice introduction. And also thank you and Volker for inviting us to the recap. So we are happy to have the opportunity to show you the current status and also an outlook of Fiori elements, floor plans for OData v4, which is the official name, and Fiori tools. And we like to show you how you can simple and fast build a Fiori UI on top of your CAP service. So with me is Mariana, as already mentioned. So I'll give Mariana, yeah, so we can hear you as well. Perfect. And it's me, Marcel. And the idea would be, we'll give you a short introduction into Fiori elements. For those of you who don't know it yet, yes, there will be a few slides, but just a few. But then we will right away start with demos and code. So we need slides, Marian. Perfect. Yes, yeah. Just shortly, we are going to show you a lab review. So things might change until they are globally available. So please don't take any sales decision based on this presentation. Yeah, let's get started. So what is SAP Fiori Elements and SAP Fiori Tools in a nutshell? SAP Fiori Elements provide designs for UI patterns and predefined templates for common application use cases. So app developers can use SAP Fiori Elements to create SAP Fiori applications based on OData services and annotations without the need to write any line of JavaScript coding. And SAP Fiori Tools allow app developers to easy and fast create those apps and to define the needed annotations. So with both, you will reach a high development productivity to cover what 80% of all apps need. So you don't need to build the UI over and over again. Just reuse the common features required by most applications and provided by Fiori Elements. So predefined floor plans, views, and controllers ensure UI consistency within and across similar apps. Therefore, apps created using SAP Fiori Elements are kept up to date as they are automatically adapted to the most recent design guidelines. So to summarize, the metadata-driven development model significantly reduces the amount of front-end coding. So you can focus on the business logic and we take care on the UI.
Marcel, you just mentioned Fiori design guidelines. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, for sure, Mariana. As you know, SAP is providing a set of guidelines for Fiori apps. We call them the Fiori design guidelines. And lots of new concepts have been introduced or have evolved in the last few years. So this leads to another challenge. You want your Fiori apps to be consistent at a given point in time, but also to stay consistent over time. So new apps should follow the newest version of the guidelines, but you would also like old apps to be updated as smoothly as possible to follow the latest guidelines. So do you have the resources to update your apps whenever SAP changes the design specifications? So the good news is that you don't need to. With Fiori Elements, we take care for you.
Yeah, that certainly saves significant time and effort, especially in the long run. But are you saying now that freestyle app development is the past and every app can be built using Fiori Elements framework?
It's not so easy to answer. It means Fiori Elements is not a silver bullet that you should use all the time. So for relatively simple business apps with standard behavior, Fiori Elements can save a huge amount of time. As I already mentioned, without any line of JavaScript coding. If the app is moderately complex, you can use the advantage of Fiori Elements and still tailor the app to fit your use case by introducing such called code extensions at some predefined point. But if the app is very specific, the usage of Fiori Elements can be even counterproductive. So with too many extensions, in such case, a regular UI5 freestyle development is still the best option.
Let me illustrate this with a number. So at SAP Inside, around 80% of our newly developed Fiori applications are simple enough to fit into one of the existing floor plans supported by Fiori Elements without demanding significant extension effort. So we build them with Fiori Elements framework to speed up the development and save on maintenance. And yeah, maybe at this point, we need to explain what we mean by simple business application and existing floor plans.
Exactly. Let's start with the floor plans. So SAP Fiori Elements provides different floor plans like the list report, analytical list pages, and object page. And yet you can use them and combine them to build an application. And Fiori Elements provides many UI logic out of the box, such as navigation between pages or between apps, or bookmarks, keeping even the user's current state, searching, sorting, filtering, and so on. We also take care of variant management, so the user can choose columns, filters, and so on, and store them in variants. But not only this, SAP Fiori Elements even supports edit scenarios, including draft support, with very high dynamic screens and actions out of the box.
This sounds like really a lot of features, especially for a simple business application. So maybe let's have a brief look inside this box to give the people here an idea on how it works.
For sure, Mariana, I can do that. So SAP Fiori Elements, as I already mentioned, integrates OData metadata and annotations to render the UI. So while metadata describe your data model, so the what is on your screen, annotations describe the semantics of your data, so the how it's visualized. So let's give an example. A property annotated as an email address will be displayed as a clickable link that even opens the email client. You can also describe relationship between properties, for example, between an amount and the related currency. Fiori Elements will then display them side by side. You can group properties together so that they are displayed next to each other in a form. Or you can also describe the actions available on a given object. So whether you can edit or delete it or apply some filters and so on. And all this is interpreted by the Fiori Elements player and shown in the app accordingly. Yeah, well, I would say that's enough for the theory for now. So I'm pretty sure that people here wonder what an application developer needs to do to build an application with Fiori Elements and what support they may expect from SAP Fiori tools.
You're totally right. Seeing is believing. So I already have a CAP project prepared for our short demo here. It's just a standard app with a database module and service module, and I have already run the CDS watch command to show you the metadata. So let's go here. So this is an incident service, and it contains the entities and properties required to define and handle the safety incidents. So today we will build an app dealing with these incidents using Fiori elements. In the project, you maybe notice I already created an app folder. Usually this is just an empty folder, but in this case, as we are showing a lab preview with unreleased software, I had to add some resources locally to work. But after the generic availability, you will not need to have anything there, just an empty folder that will contain your app. So now we are ready to start building our app. And as a first step would be to generate the application. For this, I will use our extension, which is called application generator. So let me go to the command palette and type application generator. Here it is, and start it. So here you see a number of Fiori Elements floor plans and OData versions that are supported. As we are today based on CAP project, I will select the list report object page based on OData version 4. And here I will select to use a local CAP project. My next step would be to select this project. So this is the project I already have open in my screen. And I need to select the service, just one service for the list report object page. Next step would be to select my main entity set, and it should be safety incidents, as I mentioned that this service is devoted to incidents handling. And in the next screen, I need to define the module name. So let it be incidents. And the application title. Marcel, any ideas, any suggestions?
My incidents, please. That's
okay. My incidents. The next step would be to provide a namespace for an application, somewhat technical. So as we are from SAP, let it be SEFE demo. I will keep the description as it is, as we just have a demo today. And the last field is a folder where we would like to keep our app. So it's app by default, so I leave it as it is and just click generate the application. So it looks like it's run successfully. You can see the incidents folder has already created with a web app subfolder with annotation CDRs. So let's get back here and refresh and see what we have. So at this point, we got our app generated. So I click on this index HTML link. And here you will see the Fiori Launchpad with our tile, which is my incidents as you wanted, Marcel. And if I click on it, the app is opened. Of course, it is empty at this point because we have no UI configuration done yet. So Marcel, what content should we add here now?
So means my wish would be to have at least a filter bar and a table. And it would be even nice to show a chart. So this is our goal. That looks great. But let's start with a table so we see some data.
Sure. So let's start to add these elements to the first page of our application using the annotations. And we can start with the table as you wanted, which is configured by the line item annotation defined in UI vocabulary. So here is how it is defined in the CAP-CDS syntax. Our table will contain 4 columns, each expressed by a simple data field. The most important and the only required property of the table column is the value. That's why you see them here. And in the value, we reference entity type properties. So I will now open the annotation CDS file, and we can start with annotating. So I will use annotate here. And then I will use the code completion to get, let me close this for a moment, to select service and then entity type of this service that we would like to get. So for this, I use a code completion with control space. I will annotate it with the annotations from UI vocabulary. As you remember, your line item is from UI vocabulary. So let me add UI here. And now we are ready to add the first annotation. So as we mentioned, table is controlled by line item. So I will use a completion, namely control space, and I will get the list of all annotations applicable at this point. I can filter out this list by typing a few characters. So for example, li for line item, and then with enter, it's added here together with an empty collection. And with the tab, I get inside this collection, and I will define my columns now. So with another control space, I would add a data field, because you know data field is the most simple way to define a table column in line item. And value is added automatically. As mentioned, that's an only required property. And all what I need to do now is to reference entity type property for the first column. And Marcel, what did we want to have first?
First of all, let's start with the priority code.
Okay, it's priority code. Here it is, just with control space. Yeah, and the next one, again with data field. What was that?
The category code.
For category code, here it is.
Exactly, and you can also add the incident status code.
Okay, incident status code. And the last one, I remember we wanted to have 4 columns, right?
Exactly. Let's add the title. So.
Okay, title, here it is. I can use formatter if I like to show it better and to fit it to my small screen today. And all I need to do now is just to save the annotation file here. So let's go back to our app and refresh it. So if get refreshed, I hope to see not just an empty app, but also a table. And here it is, all our 4 columns. Of course, the top is still empty because we didn't define anything. So maybe we can go back and clear this gap. And what would we add here, Marcel?
Yeah, let's continue with the filters, exactly as you just mentioned. Let's assume we have a lot of data. We won't have a filter bar. And we can add those 3 codes, the incident status code, the category code, and the priority code as filters. This would be nice.
Okay, so filter bar is defined by the annotation selection fields, which also resides in UI vocabulary. And it is just a simple collection of entity type properties representing our filter fields. As you mentioned, this time we will have 3 filter fields represented by 3 properties, and these properties, of course, should be some of those defined for the table already, because we want to filter this table with these filters. So let me get back to the annotation file and do this change. So as mentioned, that's again an UI annotation. So I can continue here within UI, and I will use again a code completion to add selection fields. Again, an empty collection is there. I get inside, and again with control space, I can select the entity type properties I want to add here. So what do we want to have first, Marcel?
The incident status was
incident status at first.
Exactly. Category code.
Category as second.
And the priority code. And this should be enough.
Or again, with control space, priority code. Again, just saving that and refreshing our app. So as it's being refreshed, I expect that in the end, I will also have something here. And yes, I have here our filters. Maybe let's show how it works. What would you like me to do?
Can you show me all priority high incidents? That would be good.
Sure. I just type high here. Yeah, I want to filter by high, and you see, I see only high priority incidents in my table. Anything else? Category?
Yeah, for sure.
Let's select software. Okay. And again, go, because we can combine filters here, and we only see now the high priority incidents of category software. So at
nice.
this point, yeah,
we already have an app more or less, but it still looks a little bit boring. So can we add a chart here as well to add more colors?
Sure. We can add chart here. Basically, list reports contains filter fields and table. But if you have the aggregated data that you would like to visualize nicely, you can add an interactive chart here. This element is defined by the annotation UI chart. You can see here that it is a little bit more complex than the previous two annotations. So to define a chart, we obviously need to decide on the chart type. In this case, we will go for column, dimensions, in this case, category, and measures. We will show the incidence per category, which is an aggregated data in our case. The good thing is that you do not have to remember all these definitions, because along with the code completion support in the code editor, we have another great extension in our Fiori tool suite, which is called guided development. This is a kind of combination of the usual help with a kind of micro wizard that helps you to define the annotation. So
that's good. Let's have a look.
Yeah, so let me show you how it works. So I go back to our Visual Studio Code, and again, from the command palette, I can find the guided development. So I will open it right now. You see, it's open. It has a lot of content, and now even more than we can show you. And I can search for the feature that I would like to add. In this case, it's chart. And you see, I have several topics based on that. We know that I want to have a chart in the list report page, so the last one, an interactive chart to the list report page fits my needs. If I expand this, you can see the description. You can read to know what it's doing, what it's for, how it looks like, you can see. And below, you can see a number of fields which work a kind of a wizard. So when I select the values in these fields, the code snippet below gets updated with these values and gets ready to be pasted in my annotation CDS file. So as a first step, I will select the file that I want to add it to, annotation CDS, so this one, and a service, just one service in list report always. Entity, my entity is safety incident because it's list report, and our app is based on that. Dimensions, as we mentioned, we wanted to have category code, and measures, we said the aggregated property for incidents per category. For chat time, we will keep the column as well as we will keep the default entries for all the other values. And you see our code snippet has been updated with everything that I have added. So here, at this point, I have two options. I can either copy this annotation and paste it manually in my annotation CDS or wherever I would like. Or I can even do better. I can just click apply, and you see guided step applied. So it means that this code snippet has been added to my annotation file here. And all I need to do to have it is just to save. I saved my local annotation file, and let me refresh the app. Now it gets reloaded. Yeah, it could be that there are some preview refreshing issues. Let's see. Oh no, I accidentally click the wrong thing. Sorry for that. So let me just try again with my app. Yeah, so you see, I have a filter bar on top, chart in the middle, and table below. So let me make it bigger for you so you see everything, or maybe even zoom out. I don't know.
That looks good. And the chart is not only a visualization, but it also allows you to filter, right?
Right. Yes. What do you like me to do here? What should I filter?
So can you show me all incident risk categories hardware?
Sure. So I look here, hardware is blue. So I just click on the blue one and you see immediately my table is filtered by the value I've selected. If we go to the next page, I click on one of the line items, you see the object page at this point is empty because we didn't add any annotations for that. We can do that, you can do that, and there are two options for that. Either you use the code completion as I did for filter bar and table, or you use our guided development to guide you through with a little bit more support, whatever is more convenient to you. In this demo, I think we will not use any of these tools again now, just to save some time to show you our further features and to hopefully to save some time for the questions and answers in the end. So at this point, I would just like to show what is an object page and what are the main elements here. So that's a page header, which is controlled by UI header info annotations. These are sections that are defined by UI facets, and content of the sections could be different. It could be field groups, for example, as here, that are controlled by UI field group, or a table that is controlled by UI line item. Of course, if you define a content, you need to reference it in the sections, and then you see this UI. So for the demo purposes right now, I will use the predefined user snippets. First, to add a header information with header facets and a few field groups. Just save and refresh it here. And you will see here on the top the header information. Yeah. Back to the 100% preview. That's what you see. In the next step, I can add another snippet, which is showing facets and a few field groups referenced in these facets. So again, Control S to save it and refresh. And after the refresh, you will see already some content with the field groups. Yeah, here incident details. Incidents process flow is empty for now because I didn't add a line item. I will add it again with a user snippet, so it's faster for the demo purposes, just to show you how it's being defined. You can use, of course, the code completion or the guided development to add field groups or add line items, add facets, everything's there. And at this point, our basic list report and object page application is configured. I can go back and forth between them to the first screen, to the list report, back to the object page. But that's not the only configuration that we have, right, Marcel?
Exactly. So Fiori elements not only listen to metadata and annotations, but also provides a set of configuration objects that can be defined in the so-called app descriptor. With those configuration settings, you can fine-tune your UI. For example, you can change the table type, or you can change the object page layout from page to tab mode. And also for those kind of settings, we provide you tool support. And one very prominent configuration is to enable the flexible column layout, which shows you up to 3 pages next to each other in one screen. And Mariana will show you how easy you can enable it with Fiori tools.
Indeed, it's very easy. So let me go back to our Visual Studio Code and open our next extension, which is called Page Map. So you see here on the side the schematic representation of our application. We have a list report, we have an object page, that's a connection between them. And if I would like to switch on the flexible column layout, that's just one click on this toggle button. So I have just enabled the flexible column layout, so nothing else is needed. So let me go back to my incidents and refresh it. I make it full screen so that you can see it better. So as soon as I move to the object page, it doesn't substitute the whole view. It's open to the side of my list report. And you see it's quite flexible indeed. So if there is enough space, you see both. If the space is not enough, you see the one in focus. And to control it, to define it, you need just one click in our Fiori tools.
That's nice. So we have more or less a full application ready to be shipped. And it's also worth to mention, so if it would be editable, which is not the case in this service, we would have edit support as well, with creating, changing, deleting, and so on. That's nice.
Yeah, Marcel, but you mentioned in the introduction part that even if our use case does not fully fit into the Fiori elements floor plan, there is still a chance that we can fit this custom size into our app. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, this is a very important piece of your elements, and we call it flexible programming model. With this, we provide applications a chance to extend the application at some given extension points. So like adding a custom page or a section or action, or adding columns to the table, filters to the filter bar, fields to the forms, and also hooks in the controllers. It doesn't provide you the full freedom as you would have with Freestyle UI5 applications, but we take care that those extensions will also work once we introduce new features or we change the UX design or behavior. So Mariana will show you how you can easily add a custom page. That means a custom page, it's a Freestyle page within a Fiori Elements application, again with tool support.
Yeah, sure. So this is again my app here, and let's imagine that I have already developed a custom page with a controller and view. So what I need to do to include it into my Fiori Elements list report object page as an extra page is just simple. I copy this extension and I paste it into my web app folder. It gets there. So the code is there, and now I just need to switch it on. So I would like, as you saw in the slide, to have it connected to my object page. So here on my schematic view in page map, I would click plus and select I would like to add another object page, and not a regular object page, but a custom one. So I select custom page here. And for the navigation, I select incidence flow. That's what I would like to add. I would like to use the existing view for that. And that's just the only one. That's why it's populated automatically. And just click add here. And you see the third page has been added to my application. And now my application contains 3 pages: list report. From list report, I can navigate to the object page, and from object page, I can navigate to the custom page. It is completely developed with a UI5 Freestyle code, but still is integrated into our app. And to show it how it works, I will go back to our app, and I will refresh it and see what we get there. So at this point, you see we have list report coming. We have an object page based on what I selected in the list report. And now let me select one of the rows here. And you see the third column in our flexible column layout is open, and we see our custom page here. You know, this is not Fiori Elements standard page type, but you can still add it here, right, Marcel?
That's really, really nice. Yeah, thank you, Mariana, to show the Fiori tools and how you can use the Fiori tools to generate and to configure your Fiori Elements application. I'm pretty sure that now everyone wants to know, so where and how they can use those Fiori tools.
So as this is a lab preview, as you already mentioned in the first slide, at this point, there is no way for our audience to try it out, but we are going to release Fiori tools still this year, and closer to the end of the year, maybe end of Q3, we would start a beta program. And that means that you would be able to use our Fiori tools for CAP and Visual Studio Code, as I showed just now. That's a good option for those who like to work with the Visual Studio Code, who wants to work locally on their machines. For others who likes to work in cloud, who don't want to get bothered with all the installations and making sure that's always up to date, and that who could work from any computer for everywhere in the world. We also plan to enable it on SAP Business Application Studio. So that's our plan for now.
That's nice. Okay. Thank you,
So
Mariana.
before we end and move to the question and answers, maybe you can summarize in a few words what we showed today.
For sure, I will. Thank you. So we showed you the usage of Fiori Elements and Fiori tools makes Fiori app development easier and faster, especially at scale. But not only, we also showed you how Fiori Elements ensures UX consistency across the different apps. And finally, we believe the vast majority of Fiori apps can be developed using Fiori Elements and Fiori tools. As already mentioned, you saw a labs preview, but we plan to have a guided beta program in Q3. So I added the link to a blog, which you can open later, and you can even subscribe to the beta program. And our plan is to be global available in Q4. So we have still a few minutes left for some questions. You can also reach us afterwards. You see our contact information here. And Mariana and I will also stay in the Twitch channel. So you can also ask the questions here, or if there are already a few, we will answer them later on. And for sure, if the recap will take place in Heidelberg end of year, we will travel to Heidelberg to meet you in person and have some discussions, and to even bring some further updates with us. Yeah. Saying this, we would like to thank you. We wish you still a nice and interesting day, and see and hear you soon.
Yeah. So maybe if there are any questions.
Thank you, you two. I think the main question was regarding the availability, and you already answered that one. That was
we expected that. We expected, yeah.
I thought so.
Exactly.
Okay, let's see. I think we have some other questions in the chat. I'm struggling here with my sessions. Okay, another one was, the question was, I noticed that analytical list page templates are not in the wizard. Is there limitations or other limitations with the analytical table?
I can tell you this was a lab review, and technically we combine in the new V4 library the analytical list page and the list report, but in the wizard, we will, in the final solution, we will still ask you if you want to have an analytical list page or if you want to have the standard list report object page pattern. So this is just as it is currently before, but it will be as you might know it already from V2.
Good, thank you. Was there another question? Let's see. Are the analytic tables dependent on HANA services? So that is something related to that. Do you have any idea how this question is managed?
Sorry, I didn't get this one.
Yeah, it was just, are the analytical tables dependent on HANA services?
Means
so.
Means the one we just showed was not an analytical table, by the way. This was just a standard table.
Yeah.
We don't yet support analytical tables in the new V4 library. This is to come end of year next year. Once we support the analytical table, we need an analytical service supporting the apply, $apply. But this is to be most likely something from beginning of next year.
Okay, I think these were the relevant questions from the chat. Oh, there's one more. Do we have to use the portal service for the Launchpad to run on CF, or
Can you say it again, please?
Gregor was just picking that up from the chat. Do we have to use the portal service for the Launchpad to run on Cloud Foundry?
It's this, what we just showed is anyway the local setup. It doesn't show how it's deployed. This is just what we see here in the tools. It's just a preview of your application.
Yeah.
Deployment.
Deployment is a separate step, and we have a separate tools to ensure deployment.
Exactly. So
cool. So I think we have two things to wait for. So one is availability, and the other is the lunch. And I think, Volker, that's the right word for you to jump in.
Yep, thanks for that. So we've reached the lunch break. I mean, really cool session so far. Awesome content. I especially like the live hacking, true unconference style. And I just hope it continues in that spirit. Also very nice chat in the chat. Very helpful, very productive. I really like the support of the community here, or the community supporting each other. And so nothing else remains other than wishing you a good lunch break. And there's one more thing for the lunch break. Christian was so nice and set up a Zoom call for lunch. We'll paste the link here in the chat. So if you like, optional of course, then come in and have lunch with us, all right? So I'll see you either in the Zoom meeting for having lunch, or then later on when Recap Online continues.